As you're maybe aware, the people with disabilities face difficulties in their everyday life, and more so for people with disabilities during whatever catastrophe, disaster, name it, like flood, fire, or any act of terrorism. I mean, it's a real challenge for us people with disabilities. And I think this conference is an eye-opener, and it set things straight, because people with disabilities are not really considered very often in that sort of event. Yeah, I think the government can do a lot, and still the most important thing is the amendment of the Constitution to include the disabled people as a full-fledged citizen. And then even with this disaster disaster bill that they just promulgated, I think they haven't given enough facilities for the people with disability. They say they will take such and such measures, but they are not clear, because even for people who are valid, there's not a real implementation in place, and I think the government has to look into it. And also, it has to be compulsory, the universal design, to know people where are the shelters, how they can escape, and what are the possibilities and ways for them to recover after the disaster. This is very, very important, because when you look at Katrina or what happened in the United States, I mean, the people with disabilities were disproportionately affected compared to people without disabilities. I think the community at large, like the NGOs, the civil society, has to advocate a lot for that, raise awareness. And I personally, as chair of the Disabled People International in Mauritius, we advocate a lot on accessibility. And once, people do understand that accessibility is not only for people with disabilities, but more importantly during any disaster or any flood or whatever calamities, people know exactly where to go. And accessibility, I think, is a must that everybody should be look into, and make it easier for people to recover and rehabilitate.